Hello, hello. How are you all doing? Happy Saturday. Hi, Little Living. Hi, Mira in US. Savannah. Hey, how are you, sis? Okay. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching the replay, I'm Jess. I normally don't touch on these type of topics. I normally keep it to job-related stuff, interviews, etc., etc. But this was one that I just felt not only annoyed by, but extremely passionate about, I suppose, because of the backlash that has been coming from someone that I think is gorgeous, has the most angelic, one of the most angelic voices, playing a Disney character that happens to be a mermaid, aka half human, half fish. So people are really in their feelings all of a sudden about someone that's not pale and red haired playing this character. Now, I do just want to start off by saying I can understand some of the people that are not being racist. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, so this might be demonetized. But I can understand some of the people that are holding on to a certain character and now they're surprised. They don't think the movie's going to be good. That's something totally different entirely. I've had my own experiences with that. I remember when I was like in high school and I was reading Twilight and then the movie was coming out and Kristen Stewart was playing this character Bella and I was like, what in the world? This is not going to be good, yada yada. Did I make racist images about Kristen Stewart? No, I did not. So I'm going to play this video. It's coming from my Instagram. I have 2 Instagrams, so this is my job-related one. And I've been really surprised by the comments that this video has gotten. Some good comments, some really horrendous comments that just show how racist people still are today. Anyway, I'm just going to shift over to the video. Hi, King Morgan. Hi, Jacqueline. Oh my gosh, Jacqueline, all the way from the Philippines. I don't know if you'll fully understand all of this, Jacqueline. However, stick with me, ask as many questions as you need to. Hi, Barry. Welcome. Shout out to my member, Barry. Check out Barry if you are interested in tech and phones. Always got to shout you out, Barry. And then Sharky. Sharky's in here. He just started a new channel on finance. All right, let me move into this. Hi, Lascar. Oh my gosh, my Philippines folks are in the chat. Shout out to y'all and welcome. I don't know what time it is where you are, but oh my goodness, thank you for joining. So I'm just looking for this link so that we can just start with the video that I posted. I posted at some random time because I was just like, are you kidding me? When I saw these images towards Holly Bailey, who is very talented and very qualified to play this part. Let's just put it there. So let's start with this video. Let me know if you're able to hear it. It's from my Instagram. And this will start us off, hopefully. All right, so this is my Instagram. I'm going to go to this video. And let's listen.
Let's say racism does not exist. Please explain these images created in 2022 in response to a black girl playing a character that does not actually exist. Yes, she's playing a mermaid, which exists in folklore within Europe, Asia, and Africa, but racism doesn't exist. For the people that say racism,
Okay, I think I didn't mute myself, so I don't know if there was an echo. Let me know if you didn't hear it. I can replay it. But this video that I just created really quickly had some interesting comments in here. And the point of this was to say, listen, I don't care if you don't like someone playing a part in a movie. This is racist. These are racist images. It's very uncalled for. And the comments that I've gotten, Life Punches actually said, so the whole problem is that a black female actress playing a mermaid, if you make that a problem, you have issues. I think I like that comment. Then we had Aphrodite. If someone says racism doesn't exist, then it's kind of a moot point to argue with them since they seem to have chosen a life of ignorance and hatred instead of opening their eyes. Some people cannot be influenced by the good, and it's a waste of time trying to help them see because they choose to be blind. Actually took this comment to heart because today I just say, you know what, I'm not responding to any of these people. That comment, I'm done. This was probably one of the worst, not the worst. This was probably one of the like ones that I kind of related to. And this person said, my only holdup is the hair. Use a wig or super bright red hair color. I can care less about anything else. Just fix her hair for me. Those people, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, they're really just like, oh, I want her to have red hair. Okay. I wouldn't say that's racist, right? I don't think Hallie needs to wear a wig. She's underwater, is reddish enough. They can edit the hair color. Like, it's really not a big deal. It's, again, but people are holding on to whatever image that they have for the mermaid, which I can understand. Okay, now this is the worst. This is one of the worst ones. Tech Hero says, it's not that racism doesn't exist. It does, and every person has some affinity to people that look like them. The challenge comes when someone says systemic racism exists today in the USA. So I had to respond to them and say, actually, yes, it does. And this other person, Tiff with the gifts, amazing, gave multiple examples. Oh my gosh, she was amazing. So we had to kind of share. Then we got this person who's laughing at these images. Just gonna leave that there. Then we got Brandon who says, I feel like when people say they mean the majority of people sent racist, like obviously racist people exist, it's not there much of them anymore. Basically saying there's not that many of them. Then we have use the African mythology. Why still cultural like you tell white people? So I want to get into this. Why still the culture? Well, let's get into the cultural influence of this movie, which if we want to get into stop using other cultures, well, then they shouldn't have used some of the music that they wanted to use in this movie, right? Do you guys remember the Under the Sea song? I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to read some comments. Because if you remember Under the Sea, what influence did we have in that song? It's like one of the biggest songs of that original Disney movie. Oh, thank you, Mira. I mean, now I want to call you Mira. And I know, is it Sabuana or should I call you Mira? Barry is saying Sharky. Hey, Sharky. King Morgan is saying hello to everybody. Cool gamers in here. Hey. Let's see. Laura says, hi, Laura. How are you? These racists are mad because, let me just say the R. I'll just say R instead of saying that word because I'm sure, I don't even know if YouTube will keep this video up because of what I'm talking about. So these R's are mad because she is pretty and thin. They would have no problem with a 500-pound black girl getting attention. Ooh, you just brought something up. So I'm going to hold the culture part and I want to move over to this because you just made me think of something. Because do you remember Queen Latifah? She played in The Little Mermaid. She played a character. Do you all remember this? I didn't actually watch it, but I saw it. So let me share this with you all because that's a good point. They were fine with this. This is Queen Latifah because they had a TV film, Little Mermaid Live, and Queen Latifah played Ursula. Where was the backlash about Ursula? Because Ursula is blue in the Disney film. Well, her skin isn't blue. They should have painted her skin blue. We're trying to be like exactly like the Disney animation. There's a difference between an animation and a real life film. The whole point of it is to make it realistic. So even the people talking about the hair, most people don't have red Kool-Aid super bright hair unless they've dyed it. Like if you look at normal gingers, their hair does not look like an animation. I'm just sorry. No, it's not going to look like that if we're trying to be somewhat realistic. Anywho, but I didn't hear the backlash about Queen Latifah playing Ursula because Ursula was what? She was the kind of demonic character of the movie. She was the villain. But to put a Black girl in the starring lead as the beautiful princess, what? To change the character to a Black girl? Oh my gosh, no, we can't have that. But it would have probably been fine if Chloe Bailey was playing Ursula. I'm just assuming. I don't know that for sure, but we do have this to look at. Anyway, you just made me think about that. You made me think about that, Laura. Yeah, it's a big double standard. Let me check out the comments. Starkey says, Laura, interesting and arguably accurate point. Well, because when we even look at the other Disney character that was Black, Princess Tiana, that actually did have a lot of culture based, New Orleans. We saw voodoo, we saw all these things. But Princess Tiana was working. She worked to get to where she was at. She had to kiss a frog. And that was, isn't that based on German folklore or something? Anyhow, Disney does not, it's not like a realistic thing. This is all folklore mythology. It's just ridiculous. It's literally just a way for people to show our behavior. Hey, Angel, how are you? Isn't this at least the second time that Disney has recast with a Black woman in a leading role? And the same-ish started. Was it Cinderella or something? I'm not a Disney movie watcher. So Cinderella, yeah, it was Brandy. Brandy played Cinderella. From what I remember, I don't think any other Black woman played another Disney character. So she played, it was like a musical style, and I loved it. I remember that from my childhood, and it's something that, of course, as children, they can relate to. Children are not thinking, oh my gosh, it's this person, like this isn't right, because, our behavior is a learned behavior, clearly. I'm trying not to say the word over and over. But you're right. Just call them haters, Jess, because that's what they really are. Listen, when it gets to this level, let me replay the video again. There's haters, like in terms of, ooh, Halle Bailey, she's not right for this role. She's too skinny. She's too that. She's too whatever. Obviously not my thoughts. I think she's beautiful. I think she's actually perfect for this role. I always, when I saw her and I heard her voice, I didn't think mermaid, but I always thought like angelic or siren, like her voice is that type of, it gives off that type of energy, and her look gives that type of energy. Like, I feel like she should be a model. But let me replay this, because hate and these images are totally different. I'm sorry, but this goes well beyond just someone giving a little hate. People that come at Nicki Minaj for whatever reason, because, oh, she did whatever, and it's light, right? It's just, oh, I'm hating on her because she's gained weight. That's not at the level of this. I'll replay it. All right, I'm gonna mute myself over here.
For the people that say racism does not exist, please explain these images created in 2022 in response to a Black girl playing a character that does not actually exist. Yes, she's playing a mermaid, which exists in folklore within Europe, Asia, and Africa, but racism doesn't exist. For the people that say
Right, so I'm gonna mute it this time. Don't even listen to what I say. Just look at the image. So this one, we have this silly, and I don't know who created this because it has Newports, and they've shaved off her head and added these what looks like to be done in crayon dreadlocks. So this image, and then we have this image. She's a lot darker than her natural skin tone, which is what they did here in America, like would make caricatures of men and women. And so they've edited these teeth. They have her now with black hair. It looks like there's a piece of chicken on her neck. I think she wears a necklace, right? There's a piece of chicken right there. And she's on a piece of watermelon. Now, Jacqueline, you may not understand this since I know you're in the Philippines, but this is something that has been a stereotype for Black people. First of all, watermelon fruit, like who doesn't like it? Chicken, who doesn't eat chicken here in the United States? But that has been a typical stereotype for Black people and a caricature. And then someone's commenting, Jeff Stack shared this video. It's not just the fact that people created these images, but that there are people obviously sharing it and agreeing with the images and justifying these images, right? So he's saying, sorry, but I just can't allow my children to watch this ish. Right. Then we have this one, which hit me the worst. The little, what do we see there? I'll just let you all say it. Not the Little Mermaid. And look at the image. Are those chains, shackles? Right. That is well beyond hate. Way beyond hate. That's way beyond just someone going, oh, you know, she doesn't have red hair. I just can't do it with the hair. Like, she's not going to be good because she doesn't have red hair. She's not natural ginger. That would be just hating. And then this one that's going to follow. The black face. This is what appears to be a white woman who has put on black face. White looking lipstick on her lips. Darkened skin. T. Fathwell, a part of the Christians Against the Little Mermaid, boycott Halle Bailey. I'm gearing up for the Little Mermaid. What you doing? Yeah. Yeah. And this is 2022. And so there was a comment in here that said, actually, oh, these are black people creating these things. I've never seen a black person that looks like that. I'm sorry. No. No. Black person doesn't need to do that. Most of these memes were posted by blacks. You overdramatic, problem-pointing, attention-seeking schmuck. This is what we're dealing with, 2022. People went, yes, preparing for eternity says the worst part is that someone actually went out of their way to create those memes. And then people proceeded to post them, create groups boycotting this movie and Halle Bailey. And Halle Bailey was like handpicked for this role. Just saying. Anywho. So I just want to make the point that it's not about the hate so much because, listen, anytime you change a character, like, even if they were to have changed her with, I don't know, an Asian person, or if they were to have changed her with a blonde person, somebody would have hated. Someone was going to hate, right? Even if the person looked exactly, there was going to be one or two, there's someone that's going to hate because it's different, right? Haters are just going to hate. There's someone. This is beyond that. That's all I want to say. I just got to make that point. Jacqueline says, I even thought racism is long gone in your country after all these years. No, Jacqueline. And this is the sad part, is that people really want to paint this picture that there are no racist people. There is no longer any type of systemic racism in this country. All of it just disappeared. We just zoomed into 2020 and we're fine. We zoomed into the 90s and it just went away. It just disappeared. We just crushed it. Like, no, it still exists. People exhibit behaviors in so many different ways. So the people that are saying, oh, I've never experienced it, well, lucky you, because I definitely have. Anywho, so that's one thing I wanted to point out. Laura, thank you for your comment earlier. Laura says, why aren't they mad at a Latina playing Snow White? Well, here's the thing. It's okay. It's okay. But a black woman, do you all remember the conversation we had where I shared the LinkedIn post? Now, this is LinkedIn typically just professional people's talking about professional stuff and career-minded things. There was a woman, I can't remember her name right now, but she's a Black woman. She's pretty popular on LinkedIn, and she shares positive things that are within the Black community. Like if Black men and women are accomplishing things, she is sharing it. So my channel, I don't do it as much, but I like to share positivity as much as I can. But she just shared this post, and it was about a Black woman, and she said something highlighting, and she said specifically this person as a Black woman. And do you all remember when we talked about this and I shared and I showed the images of white women throwing hate that she was saying that it was a Black woman? Well, all women are doing such and such. It's just like, you have the full media. We see what you're doing. Can you just sit down and listen and let this Black woman have this spotlight about her achievement? So as soon as we have a Black woman and they're getting a spotlight character that's not a stereotype, I think that's the key. It's not a stereotype role, right? It's a role that typically would have naturally been given to a white woman, because that, if you look at romance, if you look at princesses, if you look at that typically in the Western world, Black women don't typically get those parts, right? It's just not as common. We did have Cinderella, so thank you. I think it was Sharky who mentioned Brandy. But here's the thing: they come few. I mean, they're just not as common, right? You can, I'm sure, name plenty of white women that have played the starring role in a romance where they were just sitting back and being romanced, and they fell in love and la la la, and they didn't do any hard work, and they didn't have any struggle, and they didn't have to do all of that, right? And there's multiple princesses that I'm sure you can think of that have highlighted white women. Give me 10 Black women. That would be the challenge. Give me 10 Black women that were playing the exact similar type of role. I don't think you can do it. Okay, let me get through the comments. Laura B says, King Morgan is saying happy Saturday, everyone. Happy Saturday. These haters can't even tell you the original Danish story. If it's so important to them, why don't they know it? Okay, so I do want to get to this because I do want to share this snippet, because this whole thing about, oh, the culture, right? And I do think it's important to, when it's a historical story, like, you think about Mulan, you think about Pocahontas, there are some Disney stories that are tied into a specific culture, obviously. So that shouldn't, I mean, I would think that they wouldn't tamper with that, right? I mean, in Mulan, you can't just put someone that's not Asian in that story. It doesn't make any sense. But we're talking about a mythical creature that is shown in every, like, Western, African, Middle East, like, it's shown typically across different cultures. It doesn't matter. Okay, so this aspect of The Little Mermaid, if you remember the song, I do, because it's like one of the most popular songs. It's this, and then the main song that Ariel sings. Under the Sea is a song from Disney's 1989. Dang, I wasn't even born yet. Y'all. Anyway, it's animated film, The Little Mermaid, composed by Alan Menken, with lyrics by Howard Ashman. It is influenced by the Calypso style of the Caribbean, which originated in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as reggae, which originated in Jamaica. And this is one of the most popular songs. They should have not had that. Why was the crab Jamaican if they wanted to keep it so? It's just really ridiculous when you listen to some of these arguments. And the crazy part about all of this is that I'm pretty sure the director or producer of this live action film handpicked Halle Bailey. She's qualified for it. So I want to highlight one other thing. And this is something that Aunt Karen, and I have no thoughts on Aunt Karen. I think some of the things she does is good. Some of the posts she's made has been really weird. But overall, I think, the good outweighs the bad. But this is a video that she shared of a woman arguing about why she couldn't support this movie. So let's look at this. Let me share it and pull it up for you all. But if you don't know about Aunt Karen, she basically just calls out our behavior, basically. And I keep saying the word "our" so I don't have to say the full word. Hopefully you get that. Just because I am worried that YouTube will take this down. There's certain topics that YouTube doesn't like. And I've had one video where, yeah, I couldn't post it. So, anywho.
That Disney only did that because of race. Now, if they had done it because of her actual talent, her voice, and her acting skills, wish I could be part of that world.
Honestly, I think we could save so much time if some of y'all just admit that you're racist, because y'all are making stuff up at this point. But let's go on. Let's hear more of her explanations.
Casting anybody but a white redhead with blue eyes bothers me so much. The Little Mermaid was the first movie I watched. The first Disney movie I watched.
Honey, I'm here to tell you we don't care. We don't care about your nostalgia. Y'all covering up your racism in the form of nostalgia, and it's done.
That Disney only did that because of race. Now, if they had done it because of her actual talent, her voice, and her acting skills, wish I could be part of that world.
Honestly,
Like, period. Like, period. What do you mean? Talent, acting skill, voice. Anyway, and you know what? I do have to highlight a little bit about career world, because this is the common thing about diversity and inclusion, right? And why I've had so much trouble with it. You know, I focus at some point with companies in DEI efforts, and I actually don't want to ever focus in DEI like in a full role at all. There was a point where I did want to have a role that fully focused on DEI, and the reason why I don't want to is because of it seems like most companies are disingenuous at the end of the day when it comes to DEI efforts. And one of the things that a lot of folks think about is, oh, well, you just got this job because you're Black, you're Asian, you're Hispanic, whatever. It's not true. Now, I have been in scenarios where I've seen white people get a job because they knew such and such and such and such and such and such. They knew such and such neighbor. They knew this leader's neighbor. They knew this leader's friend. They knew whoever, right? Oh, I could see her. She reminds me of my sister. Yeah, I've seen that happen. Could it happen? Sure. But to say that this girl doesn't have talent, and this is something that women should relate to, of any race should relate to, but definitely me as a Black woman, I relate to needing to prove, hey, I didn't just get hired because I meet the D&I standards. No, I actually work. I'm actually good at my job. I actually have talent in specific areas, right? These are my skills, and I'm going to show them over and over again. So that, to have her argument be, well, no, she just got this because she's Black. Have you ever listened to her voice? Have you seen her acting abilities? Have you seen her face? Like, face is giving mermaid, voice is giving mermaid, and the acting skills are there. Anyway. So it's very clear. As Aunt Karen said, you might as well just come out and just say what you mean at this point. Don't color code it. Don't hide it. Just come out. All hell Brandy, Cinderella, and Whitney Houston as a fairy godmother. Oh my gosh. Yes. exactly. And here's the thing, we have to have things that everyone can relate to. And I do see that's what Disney is doing. Do I wish that they had created a story? Yes, I would love to see more stories that are created, maybe taken from African culture, where they can actually build a Disney princess or prince or whatever they're trying to go for. But yes, but they didn't, and I think this is going to be amazing. So Angel says, "I'm well. I've been awesome. It's been an awesome day. Love that." I'm glad Angel's doing well. Angel does angel number. Like in her live stream, she actually highlights angel numbers. So if anyone wants to check her out. King Morgan says it's been a great day. Oh, wow, we're preparing breakfast. Oh, you're preparing breakfast. Oh my gosh, so early. So early there. My goodness. So is it Sunday? I guess it will be like a day ahead of me. So it's Sunday there. Jacqueline says it's actually beautiful. Yes, her voice is amazing. Jacqueline says, I heard about stereotyping. In fact, I talked about it to my high school students whenever they get across some stories. That's really good. And that's in the Philippines. The worst part, Angel says, oh no. The worst part is someone actually went out of their way to create those memes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Hey, King of Kill. Shout out to my member, Teddy. So I do want to highlight this girl basically saying, this was a ginger that she could relate to. And here's the thing. I can think of a couple of redheaded characters that either Disney has put out or other animations. There was Jessica Rabbit, which I remember, and I'm not, obviously a part of that look. I remember as told by Ginger. Kim Possible, I think she was supposed to be a redhead. She looked red hair to me. There was the Rugrats had a character that was a ginger. I feel like I've seen gingers, but I can relate to the fact that gingers are kind of shown as not attractive. I can get that, but to proceed and say, oh, well, they're not qualified. She only got this because she's a Black girl. No, you should have just left it at, I wish it had been a ginger that looked like me. I think people would have more so related to that than you proceeding to say, oh, she only got this role because she's Black. You're showing your cards. You're showing your R card right there. Storm Radios and Cats, hello. I haven't seen you here before, but welcome. Welcome to the chat. I was raised in Cleveland, Ohio. We were never exposed to racism. I never heard of it until I moved to Southern Ohio in the 80s as a teenager. I don't see color. I see regular people trying to live. I can tell you're new to my channel because I have problems with people saying, I don't see color. So either you're colorblind or you're just saying that because it sounds good. Because as long as I remember, a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't see color. I see people. It's just people. No, you see color, and I want you to see this color. You see this face with all this melanin? Yeah, I want you to see it because it's beautiful. Now, to say you don't see color, either you're colorblind or you're just saying words. No, we see color. I see facial features. I see height. I see different sizes. I see different ages and the signs of that within a person's face and their body. I see color, and that's okay. I don't think the answer is to say, oh, I don't see color. Everyone's people, whatever. No, we're going to see differences in each other. I think it's all about how we react to seeing differences. Are we celebrating their differences? Are we accepting and inclusive of their differences? Do we see value in a person's difference? I think that's always the push, because naturally, I think people, we're going to gravitate to people that are similar to us. As a woman, I'm likely going to, in a room full of women and men, I'm probably going to gravitate over to the women first. In a room full of Black, white, and Asian people, I'm probably going to gravitate to the Black people naturally, because there's similarities. But the goal is to see people, see their differences, and be respectful of them, be inclusive and understanding the value that people bring, even though they are different from you. So that's my stance. I'm not trying to beat you up with your comment, but I just want you to get a take from a Black woman, since it sounds like, I don't know how diverse Cleveland, Ohio is, but, just a take from a Black woman. That whole I don't see color just doesn't really hit home with me. I don't know about I don't speak for all Black women, obviously, but that's my take on it. Oh, thank you, Jacqueline. You're awesome as well. Sharky says racism has, I said it. I'm trying not to say it. Okay. So the R word has always been a problem in the US. But let's get real. The haters have come out of the woodwork in droves. Like cucarachas since Trump's election. He gave him a voice and a license. Yeah, I do. I think that's interesting. Would this have happened prior to Trump? I think it would have. I think people still would have came out at some point because listen, the truth always comes out. You can hide as much as you can, but there's going to be something that highlights your true feelings as a people, Everything can't be hidden in the dark for that long. Jacqueline says, Sharky, but you're right. It's been a problem in the US. I don't see it ever changing. Honestly, I just don't even. I think if every Black person went back to Africa right now, there would still be a problem. Like they'd be watching what's going on in Africa and highlighting what we're doing. Like I just don't think it's ever gonna. I think we as people, it's just, can we get along? I don't know. It's just very deeply rooted in this country at this point. I just don't know. And even going beyond Black people, I mean, it's you see it in every single group. It's crazy, but particularly us, we're highlighted most. I do have a question for you all in the chat. Do you feel like it would have been better for Disney to, if they were going to do a live action film, keep it the same and do a different character? Because I do think about this. It takes effort to create a new story. And I sometimes get tired of the same old story being retold. Would you have preferred seeing, something new, like them actually looking at African folklore and doing something with that instead, and Holly being the spotlight there? Because I take one of those comments as being, I'll just say it. I think at this point, I've said it so many times. I do see that as being a racist comment when this person said, we'll take something from, African culture. It's actually not a bad idea. I think Disney should do that. I think highlight the African culture more, because we did see, we see now, I think the Woman King, we had Black Panther, shout out to Chadwick Boswick. That man was fine, man. That's how be, you all know I like Jason Momoa, I like Chris Hemsworth, but that was pretty sad. He was a good looking guy, just saying. And he seemed like non-problematic and all of that. And so Barry said, I think we may be missing one critical aspect. This is a tool of supremacy. The reason racists are mad is because they know positive imagery is uplifting to the race that has a positive image. Thank you, Barry. Barry, this comment, I don't know if you're still in here, but this comment right here, exactly into, I think it was Laura's point where she was saying if it had been another character, like if it had been Ursula, well, who cares about that? Ursula's the bad guy. That's kind of the typical stereotype. Put the dark-skinned Black girl as the villain, right? It's kind of like the Precious effect. Have her running with a bucket of chicken. Like, oh my God, that movie was so horrific. I never saw the full thing, but it was just horrific. That's all I remember. I was just like, I told my friend in the theater, we gotta go. I can't. I never wanted to watch this movie. We need to go see Avatar. Some of you all know that story, but I went with a friend and she really wanted to see Precious. I don't know what she thought this movie was going to be about. And I just remember this girl, the character that played Precious, nothing against her, but she's running down the thing with chicken, and they got Monique playing this horrific mother. And it was just all the darker women were playing the stereotypes, and it was just horrible. And I told my friend, I'm like, can we please see Avatar? So we just scooted over. I went to the Avatar movie, which James Cameron, like, come on, why not? You always see a James Cameron movie above anything else. Anywho, that's a perfect point. It's the positive imagery that they don't want. Partly Cloudy came in here. Hey, how are you? I saw a comment from Barry. There we go. This is a comment. I saw it and I didn't find it. So Barry said there's a reason why this old black man was so happy to see a fictional character named T'Challa, and I'm just talking about that, run around and be strong with strong black women surrounding him. I love that. Yes, they could make another, like, a Black Panther-esque movie. Like, you could do that as well. I think it's fine. I mean, I think this live action movie with Halle Bailey is going to be amazing. I don't know. I feel like people are maybe even afraid that she's going to out-sing the original person and outdo it, and it's going to be even better than the original. Who knows? That's another thing about this whole supremacy deal is, well, our version is better than yours, and it's ridiculous. It really is. Just appreciate all of it. Just sit down and enjoy. Anyway, that's just my take on it. Jacqueline says, wow, the voice is just amazing. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so behind on comments. I'm gonna close this out pretty soon though. Barry, what movie are you referring to? Oh, Sharky. Barry was referring to Black Panther. T'Challa, Wakanda Forever, all that movie. That was a powerful movie. That was a very powerful movie for Black people because, again, and I could definitely see for Black women and Black men, but especially for Black men, Black boys, to see a strong character like that. I think that is good. We probably need more imagery like that. And he wasn't dependent on anyone. Like, the American, they were coming to them like, hey, we need some help. That is a great image because I think any image for, and this isn't about Black men, but I think any imagery that will help Black men and Black boys get out of this victimized mindset and see their male privilege a bit more, it's probably a good thing. Because right now, with the comments I hear, no, folks aren't getting it. Like, you're not getting it. Barry says there are tons of movies that people take for granted. However, one example, Sharky, is where the whole movie theater stared at me and my sister and my parents. We were the only Blacks in the theater. Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. Barry says Superman 1 with Christopher Reeves. He goes to change, and the phone booth is not a traditional one. Everyone is panicking because a helicopter is about to fall off a building with Lois Lane trapped. Oh, Barry had a lot of things in here. He runs past two, I'm not going to say that word, two call girls, I'll just say it that way, and a PIMP that are the only ones oblivious to the situation. Barry, I do remember, I'm just asking. Oh, okay. Barry says he changes into a spiral door in the PIMP, which I will never forget in my life, yells, say, Jim, that's a bad outfit, which Superman replies, pardon, to his, I don't know what this movie is about. Sharky, it was the story of my life growing up. I was the PIMP, oh, yes, I get what Barry's saying. So I've been following Barry's comments. So he's saying during his childhood and what he saw with Black people, Black men represented, they were either a PIMP or the slave, which, yeah, I could see that for sure. That's just it. And I guess, obviously I'm a Black woman, so I do recognize that I'm going to relate more to my experience as a Black girl and trying to see some imagery for me, right? But I also want to understand, I'm so glad, Barry, you're sharing your comments in here. I do want to understand for a Black boy, like the imagery that you're seeing in media, and this is why Malcolm X talked about the power of media. It's strong because it's literally programming you, right? It's kind of telling you this is what you can be. If you see only white men as presidents, will you ever think to yourself, oh, I could be president? When you see a Barack Obama as president, you might go, maybe I could be president. When I see women executives, I go, oh, maybe I could be an executive. You know, I see a woman that's a mom. Oh, maybe I could be a mom and an executive. Like it kind of opens your mind if you see that stuff. But when you're not seeing it, it makes it tougher. All right, let's see. We'll close this down. I see the comments. I see you. You've done well to rise so far above all that Ishbury, but I do understand that scar tissue. I was always either not Jewish enough. Sharky, I didn't realize you were Jewish. So not Jewish enough to other Jews, or just hated for being Jewish. You know what? I didn't learn about, and I still don't fully understand the Jewish plight fully today, but I have been learning from other people. I typically don't know when someone is Jewish, unless it's, you know, they're in, what is it, that traditional wear. I recognized in New York when I was in Brooklyn, but that's another plight too that I don't typically know a lot. But that's interesting. You're saying you weren't Jewish enough to other Jews. I would love to hear more about that in another video, of course, but let's connect, because I do want to understand more about that. I think that would be interesting. I love Black Panther. I'm just terrible with character names. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Is his name Chadwick Boseman or Chadwick Boswick? You probably have it right. I'm bad with names. It is Boseman. But anyway, I thought he was great for that film. Just saying. Let's see. Oh, Barry's still in here. Yay. Have to leave soon though. Wish I could stay, but you know I stay busy on YouTube. You do. You support a lot of people. I appreciate you. Barry, like for a while, it was like, how is he doing this? It's like, what does he have? Like 5 different computers? I know you have multiple phones, but I don't know. But thank you. I appreciate your comments. Appreciate your context into your experience and why it drives home the point of why the media is so important and why this imagery is important for Black girls. Like, I can understand, you know, a ginger saying, oh, well, I like this imagery, but listen, you've had like, I feel like I can count 10 animations that were gingers. I get it, because yeah, the media doesn't really highlight red-haired people and say, oh, they're beautiful. And this, no, they don't really do that. It's not, you know, it's very true that is where we're at today. But can you give this moment to this Black girl? She earned it. She's right for this role. She didn't get the role just because she's a Black girl. We can clearly see that at this point. Hi, Vital Vibes. How are you? Ted says an enjoyable life. Action Disney movie. Matt. What? You saying Matt? I am here for it. Listen. But I'm also, you know, I'm a woman. So that's kind of in my space for Disney princesses, you know. The only Disney princess I didn't like was Sleeping Beauty. I remember my dad had gotten a DVD of it, and he had gotten a bunch of DVDs for me to watch. I loved The Lion King. I liked all the other princesses. I was not feeling Sleeping Beauty. I was just like, this is not it. I am not about to watch this. Like, Dad, you're trying to play me. But you know, I was a kind of picky. I was a picky kid. Let's see. Ted is saying I'm ready for the sequel this November, Wakanda on Tuesdays. Wait a minute. There's a new Black Panther and it's coming out in November? What? And how are they gonna do it? I just wrote that down because I want to see it. I have to see the Woman King too. That's out right now, I think. The way Jessica said PIMP, someone listened to Get Rich or Die Trying. I didn't. I actually didn't, but wait, did I? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm thinking about the movie when you just said that. I didn't watch the movie, but I did listen to that song. Da-da-da-da-da, PIMP. Oh man, yeah. I listen to, you know, you don't know what the songs mean until you know what they mean. But welcome, Ted. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Hi, Bronze Bird. Looks like you're new. Do you have any comments before I close this show out? And I think I'm going to leave this one to the members, of course. You know, all the live streams will always be available to my members. You were enjoying too much lobster, Sharky. What? Because you're not supposed to eat shellfish. I'm done. Is that what you meant, Sharky? That you weren't following the principles? I gotta know more about that. AM says, thank you for the insightful information you put out, Jessica. You are a great resource, everyone. Oh, thank you, AM. I appreciate that comment. That's so nice. I love that. Bronzebird says, I just don't enjoy how Disney is usual in remaking films just as needed. I do agree with you. Bronzebird, I agree. I think that we need to get back into creativeness. Like, there's so many stories out there. There's a ton of mythology that you could dig into, especially if you want to focus on, you know, highlighting Black voices. I think the better way to do it would be to actually dig into African culture. But that will take more work. I think it is easier to just remake a film that already has a great story. Building out a story is going to take some time and really, you know, a lot of energy. But I think that would have been the better option because, and you know, Disney had to know that having Halle Bailey they were going to get some backlash. And I'm glad that they were willing to move forward. I'm glad that Halle Bailey is willing to move forward. I feel for her. Because, you know, we don't think about celebrities as real people, but she's a Black woman. She's a person like anyone else, and she has to see these images herself, right? That has got to be something. That's something. But it's also very powerful in the fact that Halle Bailey, you're making certain people so mad that they're spending all of this energy focused on you. And guess what? They're likely going to go see that movie just so they can hate and going to bring you that money. Right? So, hey, it's like a gift and a curse. But I'm so glad that she's, you know, being strong enough to go through that, because these are the type of things, hate like this online forces people to, you know, go through significant amounts of therapy and things. So I feel for her. Bronzebird says, make a new mermaid movie. I think that could be cool. Bronzebird says, yep. I think they could. And it doesn't mean that they can't do this live action movie and then make a specific movie that's highlights a mermaid princess or something that's, you know, completely different, right? They could do that. They totally could. Just know it's because I have blonde hair and blue eyes. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Most Jewish people don't. Because my sect is Reformed Jew as opposed to conservative or Orthodox. You know what's interesting? So I have 2 Jewish girlfriends, and they have blonde hair and blue eyes as well. And then my ex was actually Jewish and also had blonde hair and blue eyes, but not like striking blue, right? So there's that. And, you know, he shared some different struggles to me as well that I'm oblivious to. And I have to have some understanding for people, because if you don't live a certain experience, you just don't know. You know as much as you can learn from them and from books and from, you know, listening. But to say I can really relate to an experience of a Black man, for example, obviously I relate to the Blackness, but I can't fully relate because I haven't grown up as a Black boy and, you know, all of that. So it's a different experience. Even with that, even though we do share some commonality, like with Barry, we're a different age. We're different genders. So I have to lean on his experience and listen to him to understand what that experience is. My issue is people will just blatantly say, no, you didn't go through anything. No, there's no racism. No, there's no this. No, there's no sexism. No, you're lying. I've never experienced this. I have never seen it. Why would you have seen it? You don't live their experience. There's no way you can say it. There aren't that many races. Do you know them all? So you met them all personally. You got a little group together. Like, what? Am I missing something? These are the challenges that I have. And I'm just like, you know what? Let's get together and talk, you all. Let's get together and talk. So I do want to leave it on a lighter note. I did find this TikTok because you all know I'm on TikTok. I have 2 different TikToks. I got my Jobs from Jess, which I barely post, and I got my Aerial Silks Jess stuff. So that's just gym stuff. Let's end it off with something positive and light and funny. So I'm going to leave it there. Brownsburg said, people, it's hate watching. Hey, Curtis E., if you want to catch the replay, catch the replay. We're kind of wrapping things up. She said, Jessica. All right, so let me see if I can get this TikTok up here. I did save it on my PC. Okay, here it is. Let's see.
Well, guess y'all done seen it. There's a black mermaid now. Everybody's getting real big mad about it, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm a good old boy. I do lots of fishing, and there's a lot of black fish out there. Check it out. There's a blackfish. There's another blackfish. There's a black mermaid from the Little Mermaid cartoon 30 years ago. Personally, I think Disney made the right choice. I don't know if y'all ever seen a Caucasian fish up close, but look at that damn thing. It's nasty. They smell like...
Wait, pause. I have no idea if you all heard that. Did you hear it? Did you like it? I thought it was kind of funny. But I'll replay it in case you couldn't hear it. But let me just know in the comments if you actually could hear that, because I do want to leave it off. I thought this was a cool way to kind of address things.
Well, guess y'all done seen it. There's a black mermaid now. Everybody's getting real big mad about it, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm a good old boy. I do lots of fishing, and there's a lot of black fish out there. Check it out. There's a blackfish. There's another blackfish. There's a black mermaid from the Little Mermaid cartoon 30 years ago. Personally, I think Disney made the right choice. I don't know if y'all ever seen a Caucasian fish up close, but look at that damn thing. It's nasty. They smell like a wet dog. Personally, I just throw them back.
I can't with that fish comment though. I know he was being funny. Obviously for me, I'm not really a jokester. I'm not going to tear anyone else down to make my point, but I had to laugh at that. I was just like, because really at the end of the day, we're talking about fish people here. It's not a real thing, but it's causing all of this ridiculous drama and racist conversations and things that people are having and spreading all over the internet. And it's like, you do know this is a movie that has influences from every culture, and it's about fish. Like, they got Triton, which is from Greek and Roman mythology. They got the mermaid, which is across every culture. And then you have a sea witch, which is getting into the witchcraft cultures, and which I do see witchcraft as having culture, because it wasn't voodoo, it was different. Whatever Ursula had going on. Then we've got where the area where it takes place. We got the crab. It's got this Jamaican accents. We got the musical influence with the Caribbean and it's just like, what are you talking about? Culture. It's got like 10, 15 different cultures in there. What do you mean? I sound like Bernie Sanders. What do you mean? Okay, I'm done. I'm closing it out. Buddha, oh, you're in the ads? Shout out to you. You watching those ads. I mean, I don't think this is going to be monetized. I'm actually surprised you have ads, because anytime I have like a controversial topic, I just assume automatically that YouTube is going to be like, nope, not doing this one. Anyway, let's see. With Sharky's last comment, we can hear it. Jess, never seen him before, but he's hilarious. There's a celebrity liberal redneck. Can I say that word? I try not to say that word, but there's a liberal RN who's also very funny. I just can't recall his name. He trolls the MAGA and crowd constantly. Listen, and you know what? You guys know I'm not really political. I kind of, I just see the grossness and all of it. So I try to teeter that line where I'm not like talking about anyone's politics, because I know that's also very controversial. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter, honestly, because it doesn't matter. But it matters, but it doesn't. It's not enough to take up a lot of my time and energy to discuss it online. But I gotta check that guy out. I wish you had his name, Sharky. If you think of his name, please send it to me. I will get on TikTok just to find out the person's name, because I love a good funny TikTok. I love a good funny TikTok. All right, y'all. I'm gonna close it out. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Miss Queen T. Just jumped in here. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you all listening, sharing, being open-minded as well. For I know someone commented and said like, "Hey, I live in Ohio. I really haven't had these experiences." So I appreciate the open-mindedness, the open conversations, the respect, people being kind to each other, even with this conversation. So just gonna close it out there. We left it on a light note, so I hope you enjoyed the TikTok. But with that, I'm gonna close it out. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, lovely people.